One of the most fun things about travel nursing is trying to figure out where you're going to go. But there's a few things that you need to consider and one unspoken rule that we need to talk about. I'm John. I've been in this travel nurse game for around 6 years now. It's been amazing. I have been all over the country, including all the way up to Alaska, California, Washington, Maine. I have been all over this country, and I have done the entire travel gig with my family. We lived in an RV during that whole time, traveled all over the country, showed the kids everything. It was fantastic. So what's on your list to see? Do you want to see major national landmarks like the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California? Mount Rainier in Washington? How about the Statue of Liberty in New York? Or the National Mall in Washington, D.C.? Or maybe you're a nature junkie like me and want to see all the national parks, those wide open spaces, or maybe every single mountain range in the United States, like the Appalachian, the Rocky Mountains, Sierra Nevadas, the Cascades, or the Alaskan Mountains. The list goes on. Or maybe you want to go see some of the U.S.'s biggest cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. Maybe it's still all about the cash flow. Maybe you are chasing the dollar and want to go visit some of the highest paying states that we have to offer here. California being first. Not part of the compact yet, but that's okay, you can still travel there. Or Massachusetts, which is in the process of putting in implementation for the compact, and Washington, which actually becomes part of it this year, July 23. Regardless of whatever it is that makes up your bucket list for the travel destinations, we all have the same goal and the same means of getting there, and that's through travel nursing. Now, when it comes to picking those destinations for travel nursing, there is something that's important that you need to know, and it's kind of an unspoken rule. And what I'm talking about here is what I like to call the travel nurse trifecta. Generally speaking, this rule will apply to most contracts. However, there are still going to always be some exceptions. Here's the rule. When choosing a destination, there are three primary aspects that come into play. Number one, the actual destination and location of where it is that you're wanting to go. Number two, the money or the pay of which you'll make on contract. And number three, the shift or the type of patients that you'll be working with. Generally, when picking a destination, you'll get to have two of these three things while on contract, and one must be sacrificed. Let's break it down. Number one is the actual physical location. Is it a vacation destination? That is going to play a huge factor. Is it a desirable location? A lot of people are going to want to go there. And is the cost of living high or low? Two is going to be the money, and that's simply put just how much you're going to be making while on contract there. Certain areas of the country, you're going to see higher paid contracts than others. Three is the type of shift that you'll be working and also the type of patients that you'll be working with. If you want to work specifically only day shift or only night shift or rotating shift, or maybe you're very specific, I only work in ICU. I don't want to work with PCU. I don't want to work med surgical. Maybe you're OR and don't want to work PACU or something like that. That's what I'm talking about, the different types of shifts and patients. Another part of this that kind of falls under there is guaranteed hours and the cancellation policy. And if you don't know what guaranteed hours are, that is when a contract says that even though the nurse can be canceled, they will still be paid for at least 36 hours or 48 hours or whatever is on your contract. When I say cancellation policy in this specific terms, what I'm referring to is how many times they can cancel you from your shift while you're on that contract. So maybe once a week is a fairly common one that we see a lot here in Arizona. Let's make this all easier to understand by giving you a couple examples. Number one, let's say Denver, Colorado, and Columbia, Missouri. All right. Now, Denver is a highly sought after destination for travel nurses, for everybody. It is a vacation spot in the United States at any season. They have a huge winter influx of people because of the ski season, and then summers in Colorado. Well, if you've never been, you should go at least once. It's a beautiful place to be, and a lot of people want to be there, so it's very sought after. Problem with Denver is that the facilities kind of know that everyone wants to work there, and so the pay is oftentimes lower. They can charge less because everybody wants to go there. When it comes to the trifecta, you're going to have number one, your destination choice of Denver, but you're going to have to figure out which of the other two you're going to want to let go of. Maybe it's the shift. Maybe you want day shift in Denver, so you're going to have less money. Or maybe you want Denver and the money, so you're gonna have to work nights or weekends or rotating shift schedule. One of the things you consider is also working with different patient populations. For example, let's say you're an ICU nurse. Well, the needs for ICU aren't high enough right now, but maybe you can go work PCU. Or maybe you're an L&D nurse and you can work mother-baby. Maybe you're an OR nurse and you can work PACU. Trauma, adrenaline junkie, you can work a level 3 this time. You know, there's some things that you can do and kind of sacrifice in order to get that job and that money. Now, that's going to be different in the Columbia, Missouri example. Columbia, Missouri, you might actually make a little bit more than you would at a vacation destination like Denver because, well, they need to advertise a higher rate to get more nurses to go there. I actually earned a pretty decent amount while working there. I had day shift, and it actually turned out to be quite a bit of fun. It was one of the more enjoyable contracts that I've taken. That being said, there's not a whole lot of stuff to do in the middle of Missouri. It's not a whole lot of stuff to do around there, so it's not a vacation destination. And because of that, I had more money. Now, there's also going to always be some exceptions to the rule, and those are going to be like specific destinations such as Alaska, Hawaii, and certainly the outlying territories. When you're talking about traveling the extensive distance to one of those destinations, that plays a major factor in everything, whether it's shift, pay, because you're choosing location number one over all the others. When we went to Alaska, it was amazing. I was fortunate enough to work day shift. My schedule was all over the place though, and I didn't really make much money. Nevertheless, it was probably the coolest trip that we've been on so far. There's one other thing to understand about this. As the travel nursing market always ebbs and flows, there's going to be some changes and trends in travel nursing that you have to watch out for. Travel nursing has seasons just like everything else. There's a summer season when people are traveling, and there's the winter season with seasonal illness that kind of comes around. And so there's always an increase in travel nurse jobs during those times of the year, just as there's kind of an ebb during the off seasons. When you're applying to things during the off season, you may have to try to open up your location and some of those desires in the trifecta a little bit farther, widen your base for searches, talk to your recruiter about it, because as the market kind of does what it does, there may not be as many jobs available for you to be picky in terms of the trifecta. Sometimes you just have to go with what's available, talk to your recruiter about it. It's just worth mentioning. Outside of the trifecta, there's still some other important things that you need to think about when choosing your where. And that's going to be stuff like, if you're traveling in an RV, does the place that you want to go have RV parking spots? Our very first contract, we actually ran into some issues with that where we could not find a place to park the RV right off the bat. Fortunately, the recruiter and the hospital worked together to actually find a spot for us, and it all worked out in the long run. Weather seasons are also going to be something you really need to pay attention to. Do you want to be in Florida during hurricane season? The money might be good. Do you want to be in Alaska during the winter when it's dark all the time? The Midwest during tornado season? Things to think about that you never really had to before. Now, if you're outdoorsy like we are there going to be places for you to go and explore? That was one of the difficulties we had with the Columbia contract. We did end up finding some gems, and there's usually you can go find something to satisfy, but it's not like working in, Reno where you had like Lake Tahoe right there. One other thing that's funny that a lot of people don't think about is that you can use travel nursing to go visit extended relatives. Maybe you don't want to do that, but maybe you do. And it's just another fun thing that you can utilize travel nursing for. Also got to really pay attention to the area and the cost of living. You may have a decent contract, but if the housing is going to be so expensive that it makes it minimal, then you're really not making that money, and should you be sacrificing somewhere on the trifecta? For example, Southern California is a great example, or even in parts of Washington where like beautiful areas, high destination, but housing is gonna be pretty high up there. This is video 5 of the series already. Hopefully at this point you got a gist of what travel nursing is. You understand what to watch out for and look for, and maybe you've even begun to pick some good agencies and even talk with some good recruiters. So now we've talked about kind of how to choose where you wanna go. The next step is going to be figuring out how to onboard with an agency that you've chosen, or maybe multiple agencies. That is coming up next week. Make sure you stick around. It's going to be full of information. I'll see you then.